One of the stars of MLSsoccer.com. You've seen her on Kick TV. She's made the road trip to just about every stadium in MLS this season. Her first season on the beat, really. Our friend Rachel Bonnetta, who joined us preseason when she first got the job. Rach, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I really liked that introduction.
Well, thank you.
If I could get that before every video and every interview that I do, that'd be awesome.
I could record that and just kind of send it to you.
Hey, what if I put it as like my voicemail or something like that?
Good. This is kind of like a bookend, right? Because we started the season when you first got the job, even before the year began, and now it's like the end of the season. Has this just been a blur for you?
I think, blur is a good way to describe it. I had no idea what I was in for when I first talked to you. And looking back, it's just been a crazy, crazy year. And it's gone by like that, like so quickly.
Well, you traveled so much. I mean, every week you were putting up another video vlog and, MLS video of you going and sitting in the supporter section of every stadium. So I could only imagine every trip was jam-packed, let alone every week was just a different trip. Yeah,
I feel like when you travel that much, you get into a rhythm of it. And there's certain things that you have to do to like stay sane. But, it was super busy. I think there's only maybe 2 MLS cities that I didn't go to.
Wow.
I'm sure that will change very quickly, but it was crazy. I never really traveled across the States before, and it was a cool way to see all the different cities.
Yeah, when we talked to you, you had worked for Toronto FC, and so you were doing everything for them, and you were a Canadian girl, and you were a Canadian by heart and by birth and by trade.
Yeah, still Canadian.
And then they just threw you into New York City.
I know.
And it was like, okay, get adjusted to this, and now travel every week, and now get a kind of a thought of the entire league and do all this stuff. So I could only imagine trying to kind of morph into a new life while doing all this crazy stuff in the middle of the season. Like, you didn't even have an off season.
You know what? But I'm kind of thankful for that because I was so busy that I didn't think about it.
Right.
I was like, when I first got here, I had maybe like 3 months to really adjust, and that was 3 months that I was in New York. And it was difficult. I mean, I was moving away from my friends, my family. I knew a couple of the guys at the office where I'm working now, so that helped a little bit. But it was hard. I mean, I'm moving. The countries are close, but I'm moving to a new country, and there's a lot of different things. New York is insane.
Not really quite America.
It's like a whole other beast. But I'm kind of thankful that I was working so much and that I was so busy because I didn't really think about it. And now that one of my shows is all wrapped up, Heineken's Get Me In There, I'm not traveling as much, so I feel like I'm finally living in New York.
Right.
And it's cool because now I've adjusted, so I can just like enjoy it. I can finally make plans on a Saturday, which I have not been able to do for like 5 months. Yeah. So it's really great.
The videos were awesome because you kind of got a sense of every city as well, not just the supporter section.
Yeah.
So you did a lot of stuff around. So when you went out to the West Coast, you did some surfing. And when you were in Utah for Real Salt Lake, you did some hiking in the mountains. That seemed like you really loved that. So you you experienced the city itself and the region, not just the supporter section. So how was that? It
was cool. Like I said, it was the perfect way to see the States because you go in and I mean, there's so much more to soccer teams than just what's on the pitch. It's like, it's the culture, you know what I mean? And that's what we kind of wanted to explore. And some cities had some really, really cool stories. Like I think that Orlando may have been my favorite episode because that was
your first graffiti experiment.
Yes. P.S. I really love that you've watched. It sounds like every single episode that we did.
Yeah.
But it was cool. We were just like, I had no idea that there was like a graffiti art scene in Orlando.
I didn't either.
You wouldn't really think of that, right? But there is, and it's so much. It's really tied into the culture of the club, and nobody knew that story, and we were able to tell it. So that was really, really interesting to me than just like going. I mean, obviously going to a city and going to a game would be great all in itself, but there was so many other stories to tell, and we really wanted to do that.
By the end of the season, or maybe the middle of the season, did the supporter sections kind of recognize you and be like, "Oh, you need to come see us. You've got to support us. Oh, you got to sit over here." Like I've seen this.
I got a little bit of the VIP experience by the end of it because people. I mean, I was a Toronto FC fan for 3 years. I worked for. I mean, I still am, but I wanted all my friends to come to the game. I'm like, even if you're not a soccer fan, it's like the experience. That's what I love about soccer or football or whatever you want to call it, is it's more than just what's on the pitch. There's just like a love for everybody and it's acceptance and it's awesome. It's so awesome. So I feel like I used to do that when I worked for Toronto FC. I was always trying to get my family to come out or my friends, and now I was able to do that with all of the teams, and I could see people showing me the same kindness. Like they just wanted to show me what's so great about their team because they love them so much. And it was really cool to see. And I met a lot of really great people.
What was the most memorable experience inside the supporter section? You were throwing smoke bombs. You were eating a lot of pretzels, I noticed.
I really like
a lot of pretzels. A lot of big pretzels.
Oh gosh, that's a really hard question.
Because everyone seemed like it was totally like a unique experience.
It was, and you know what? By the end of it, when we first were planning out this thing, we were worried that they were all going to feel similar, but they didn't.
Yeah,
and there was always different people, whether it was like different cultures or where they came from or whatever. It was always new stories to tell, and it was always so incredible. So I don't know if I have really one moment that sticks out. I banged a lot of drums. Orlando, I'm going to mention that again. They were really cool.
Did you go to Seattle?
I didn't go to Seattle. That was one of the first episodes that we actually did, is I went to Seattle and traveled with their support to Vancouver for Cascadia Cup. So that was really cool. They're a little wild.
Yeah, they're into it in their own way. I mean, we think MLS is great supporters and great intensity and rivalry, but the Cascadia Cup up there is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what? I just thought of my favorite moment.
Okay.
Timbers Army.
Okay.
I went there it was rivalry week. It was
cutting some sawing some wood.
What was the score? It was like 4-1 or something ridiculous against Seattle for the Timbers. Yeah. And it was just, I remember not being able to get out of one section because everyone's like, they scored like twice when I was there and they're like, you're not moving. You are here for the rest of the game. And I'm like, I am totally okay with that. And just, oh man, I still go back and like watch my vlog from that game because I just like get goosebumps. It was I've never seen so much passion. And it was really, really cool. Those fans are awesome.
What's cool is that your career has also kind of developed and germinated from like your own stuff, right? You began just putting videos on YouTube and editing your own stuff and telling your own stories. And then that kind of took you to Toronto FC. Well, you did some TV stuff before then.
Yeah. Well, it's a funny story. The way I got my job with Toronto FC is I won a contest. I won a contest called The Dream Job.
Amazing.
Amazing. Whatever. It was insane. So I beat out like over 500 people for this job. I had to like make a video, which is like horrendous, and somehow it's still on YouTube, and I hate that. But so I won my job, and then from there I just started putting out videos, and I think similar to my job at MLS, they didn't expect it to be what it was. They hired me on for like a year to host halftime shows. And I was like, well, can I do this? Can I make this video? And da-da-da-da. And then they were like, yeah, sure. And then people started seeing it. And so this is like the advice that people are always like, oh, how do I get your job? Like, how do I become successful in this field? And I'm always just like, just do stuff. Just put it out there and ask questions and just do it. Stop like dreaming about it. And that's exactly what I did. That's what I did with Toronto FC. And that's what I did with MLS.